Hi, I'm Eric Bolling in for Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching this special edition of The Factor, a nation divided left versus right in America. The growing ideological divide between liberals and conservatives is reaching a fever pitch in this presidential election season, and it was on violent display outside a Donald Trump rally in San Jose, California, when anti-Trump protesters confronted Trump supporters.
I was walking out with a Trump sign, he grabbed my Trump sign and started following me, saying I was like a racist and stuff.
Joining us now with reaction from Atlanta, Republican strategist Scott Miller, and from Washington, former Obama presidential campaign advisor David Morey. They're also co-authors of the new book, The Leadership Campaign. David, I'm going to start with you. Who does it benefit? Who does it benefit when you're a protester and you slug someone, cold cock someone, and you have your cause standing right next to you, a Mexican flag? So I saw Mexican flags everywhere. They're obviously protesting Donald Trump's immigration policy, and they're cold cocking Trump supporters.
Boy, that's absolute sabotage, Eric, for the cause. I mean, there's no defending that. It's absolutely ridiculous. And both candidates have to work to dampen this kind of behavior down. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And Scott, so I'm watching the other ones, and there's a Trump supporter who gets hit. There she is right there. She gets hit with a bottle. She gets hit with eggs. Again, just for wearing a Trump T-shirt. I mean, this still is America, right? We're allowed to wear a T-shirt of someone we support, right?
Yeah, you know, Eric, a little of this is performance art. You got to realize, I think on the fringe of both sides, of the left and right, the so-called divide, you know, there is anger. They're thugs. But they're people when there are cameras out there that do things they would, I hope, never do if there weren't a camera on them. And I think a lot of them are acting out. I don't know how many of those people with Mexican flags were Mexicans.
Well, who do you think they are then? I mean, what's the? Are they Hillary supporters? Are they Bernie supporters? Who are they?
My guess is that they fall across the line somewhere. You know, Bernie supporters, Hillary supporters, or just anarchists. Really, these people are just out to, some of them, you know, just to agitate. Some of them to protest. But as you know, there's a great deal of anger out there in the country. It's you know, the New York Times last week said there's sort of an epidemic of anger. It sloshes over from politics. But we've seen it in our research for about 4 or 5 years that the American people are absolutely, left, right, center, are fed up with the political establishment and the country falling all around them and their kids not having a chance at the American dream.
So, David, is it what Scott suggests? It's anarchist, anarchy? Is this the left? Is this sponsored protest, sponsored anarchy?
It could be. It could be. I mean, we know there's some of that. There's, as he says, performance art. But we also know there's unprecedented anger, as Scott also was saying. You've never had sort of more unity of anger and more disunity in terms of the politics than at any time in recent American history. You're seeing that around the world. You're seeing it, you know, the scars of the 09, 08 recession. You're really seeing all this stuff come to the fore now. Yeah,
but you also remember early on in the campaign, you're blaming Donald Trump supporters for being the ones who are violent. Now it seems like that the shoe is on the other foot. They're the ones, the Donald Trump supporters are the ones who are getting beat up, cold-cocked. I'll go with you, Scott, first.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you watch the mainstream media, what you hear is there was a violence at a Trump rally. They never say that the violence was against the Trump supporters. You know, there is anger, and there's real anger, and there's justified anger on both sides. You know,
well, how is
my
that
feeling?
Okay, all right, fine, Scott. Justified anger, but is violence ever justified? And let me just read something from the founder of Vox. It's a left-leaning news service. He says in a tweet, quote, "Advice: if Trump comes to your town, start a riot."
No, that's crazy. You know, and it's criminal. I mean, inciting a riot is a crime, and it should be. And that's stupidity, too. I mean, you know, I think people have gotten kind of carried away with the idea that they can get their spotlight, you know, their 5 minutes in the spotlight by doing something crazy and something stupid and aggressive and angry and hateful. The debate doesn't have to be that way, and I think, you know, we can only hope that the debate will settle down to real issues.
Yeah, I want to make sure I said that right. Is Emmett Renson, he may have been the founder or he may have been a deputy editor. Either way, he worked with Vox and still continues to work.
I hope there's a warrant out for his arrest.
Well, let's take it one step further, even bigger. The mayor of San Jose, California, Sam Liccardo, a Democrat, says he's angry, but he's not angry with the protesters or the violence at the protests. He's angry with Donald Trump. What about it, David?
Well, look, that's the danger for Trump, because the perception is he hasn't dampened down some of the, you know, the anger at and outside his rallies, and that may or may not be fair to Trump. The point is that, you know, in all the elections we've won, we've done a bunch around the world in this country, it's almost always been the unifier who wins the election. So the danger for Trump is he has to keep, you know, get a hold of this sort of unifying ground, and that's where Hillary's trying to get there
David,
first before he does.
Don't you think this violence and the pictures of violence, it actually helps Trump? Don't you think people who support Trump and people who may be on the fence say, hey, you know what, I don't want America like this. If they don't like him, maybe I want to stop some of this. Maybe he'll stop some of this.
My bet, Eric, is it may help him short-term but not long-term. It's very rare to elect someone who's not perceived as a unifier. So if he is perceived as less of a unifier than Hillary, that's a challenge for him.
What do you say, Scott? Do you think this could help Donald Trump and people who say, I can't stand these people protesting, look what they're doing, I want anything but them, so I'll go with Trump?
Well, I think there'll be a little bit of that, but that's just an emotional response. I think that I actually think that, and I'm hoping but believing that Trump is going to be a unifier, that he's really going to reach out and prove to people what they want him to, which is just give them permission to believe that he can be a unifier, that he can be the president of all Americans, that he can be the one who comes in and brings real change. I think he can do that, and he must.
You got to leave it right there, David and Scott. Thank you very much.